Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk Radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk Radio podcast however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. In Ohio and Georgia, constitutional carry is getting to be very close to being law. In Ohio, the legislature has passed constitutional carry. It has been sent to the governor. Governor DeWine has said in the past he would sign it. Right now he's making statements kind of, I think, mostly trying to get the media off his back, and probably will sign it. One of the things I'm seeing in the stories reporting on Georgia and Ohio is the media, they've picked up on a phrase I'm sure they have been handed by the gun ban lobby from the folks who want to ban all your guns. And what they're saying now is the tack they're taking is constitutional carry is not about getting rid of permits. It's about getting rid of required training. Because I'm sure they focus grouped it and said that people believe that training is a good thing, but permits are not, asking the government for permission to exercise a constitutional right. So now the articles talk about these bills would remove the requirement to get training and ignoring the fact that what you're really doing is saying, Mother, may I please exercise my constitutional right? And of course, as we know, if you have to ask for permission to exercise a right, it's not a right at all, is it? It's actually a privilege that can be withheld. On the other end of the country, out in Washington State, the legislature has passed a law to restrict or actually ban the sale, manufacture, distribution of standard capacity magazines holding more than 10 rounds. Quote, it's time that we send a message here in Washington that enough is enough. Seattle Democrat Representative Javier Valdez sponsored the measure. There was an amendment offered to have a bit of an exception for handguns, to raise that to 15 rounds. That amendment was defeated. Representative David Hackney, I love that name, Democrat, spoke out against the amendment. He said there was no reasonable, practical reason for a magazine with ammunition capacity more than 10 rounds. Well, except the fact that this law would exempt the police. They could have as many rounds as they needed. So tell me, sir, if there's no practical reason to have a magazine with more than 10 rounds, why would the police need them? Why would you grant them an exception? Oh, they need them to protect their lives? Oh, and citizens don't. Got it. Okay, I think we're there now. Very good. Charlie's out in Washington on 5. Charlie, what else is going on out there in Washington? You guys have not had a great week, have you?
No, it hasn't been a great week, Tom. In addition to the magazine ban, the state legislature passed a law limiting the ability of people to open carry in certain public forums and a ghost gun bill. Now, I'd actually like to focus on what I think we did right out here and give gun owners some hope in Washington State, and hopefully keep them in the fight, and also maybe a couple of pointers for gun owners in other states. Yeah, we had 3 losses, but the state legislature, and for those that don't know, Washington is a one-party state. They control both houses of our legislature and the governor's mansion, the attorney general's office, and basically all the levers of power in Washington State. They were not able to get an assault weapons ban even heard. They were not able to overturn the state preemption on concealed carry.
How'd you pull that off?
And the magazine ban bill was initially a lot worse. It was going to be one of these, you could only keep them in your home or take them to the range, and you had to be able to show that you owned them prior to the ban. Some idiot suggested that, well, you take a picture of the magazines with a newspaper with a date. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense at all. Those things got dropped. They got removed from the final bill. And part of the reason was, even though the state legislature decided that they were going to close the state capitol to the public because of COVID, they got massive amounts of online comments and Zoom comments. The House Judiciary and Civil Rights Committee that was hearing the bill got almost 15,000 comments opposed to it, and there were only about 900 people that commented in favor of the magazine ban.
Wow.
And I don't know how many tens of thousands of phone calls and letters and emails to individual legislators. It's massive turnout. And again, they don't listen to us. They don't have to listen to us, but there was enough of a voice that scared them. And the only reason they got this through this time was we couldn't put 1,000 people at the state capitol like we've done in years past. So a couple of lessons. First of all, I do not want gun owners in Washington State to get discouraged or dispirited. That's the reason why we lost the state legislatures, because people sat on their hands and sat home.
Right.
Got to keep the pressure going. Got to vote pro-gun people into office, and that includes pro-gun Democrats, because part of the reason they passed this is we lost some pro-gun Democrats last election. So that's lesson number one. Don't give up. Never give up. Always keep fighting. Just get madder and madder and go out there. Be polite, be professional.
Showing up in this case means showing up online or doing what, if you can't show up in person, that they won't let you, but always showing up, always speaking up. And that, as you said, I love the phrase you said, they got scared. And it wasn't that they were scared for their personal safety. They were scared for their privileged position there. They thought, well, we're probably a lock here, but with this many people commenting on this, I don't know, it could make it a little dicey on the next election, and that's what they fear the most.
Exactly. And the other lesson I'd like to get out there to gun owners in other states is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Some of the most effective testimony and some of the people that worked the hardest on opposing these bills were members of the minority communities, the LGBTQ, Seattle Pink Pistols. Those folks worked their butts off, and they give some of the most amazing video testimony opposed to these bills. So please don't alienate your enemy or alienate your friends out there.
Yeah.
You've got to look at these people, and as speaking to my fellow old fat white guys, sometimes you just need to stick a sock in your mouth.
Well, you've heard me say it many times here. My response to all of those buts is, I don't care. Well, they support blah, blah, blah. I don't care. They support abortion. I don't care. That's not my issue. Are they willing to help me on my issue? Then they are my friend at that point, period.
Exactly.
That's how we win.
I want my gun owner friends out here in Washington State, don't give up. You stopped a lot of bad things from even being heard this session. Given the fact that we have everything against us, the Attorney General has been pushing for 5 years for an assault weapons legislation. They couldn't even get a hearing on it. So
Charlie,
don't give
let me
up
ask you
out there, folks.
couple of questions for you, Charlie.
Sure.
One is that this bill only bans the sale, but not the possession. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, so if I'm a Washington resident, I'm on the Brownells website right now ordering up 100 AR magazines. Done deal. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah. We had Aero Precision, which is a manufacturer out here in Washington State, has been offering some about half off on Magpul magazines.
I love it.
It's just about every retailer has stocked up to sell these things. I was talking to a friend of mine that's an FFL holder, and he said, well, if I can't sell the gun with standard capacity magazines, I'll replace them with 10-round magazines and just put a bag out front with the standard capacity magazines, and just kind of let the new gun owner know that, well, I just was throwing this out here, and it's just sitting there if you wanted to come by and pick it up.
There it is on the sidewalk. I don't know. I'm not mine.
Exactly.
Well, it's a good point, and to not give up. The other thing I was going to mention is that understand that these magazine bans are being challenged in court. It was ruled unconstitutional, a ban like this in California, and then the Ninth Circuit came in and ruled it constitutional. That's going to probably go to the Supreme Court. So just kind of throwing out a little bit of hope for the folks in Washington State. They may pass it, but it may very well be overturned at some point by the Supreme Court. Charlie, thank you for the information. I appreciate the update.